Hello S3 and welcome back to our new lesson on A Midsummer Night's Dream. Today we're going to be talking about submitting our work and the things that you can do now to make sure that your work looks absolutely brilliant and meets the standard that we would expect of you in S3. But before we get on to that, we're going to try a RUI refresher starter task on imagery. So recently you learned how to use the just as and so it is formula to help you analyse examples of imagery. So you're going to refresh your memory of what you've learned by analysing the two images below. So the first is, she was as quiet as a mouse as she walked into the library. And the second is, the detective listened to her tales with a wooden face. So analyse those images as best you can, write your answers in the boxes below, and remember that if you aren't sure about the just as and so it is formula, that you can go back anytime onto the English department's YouTube channel and re-watch the video about that from a couple of weeks ago. Pause the video and try that now. So, we're thinking about taking pride in our work and proofreading our work to make sure that it meets a high standard. So it's very important that you're able to take pride in the work that you've completed, and part of this means making sure that it looks the part before you hand it in. So in fact, if you go on to do National 5 English, the essays that you hand in need to meet certain standards of technical accuracy in areas such as having accurate spelling, grammar and punctuation, making sure your essay is structured properly, and using accurate paragraphs. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So first of all, talking about paragraphing. So when you're using paragraphs in an essay, you should always make sure that you take a new line for each new paragraph. And you need to make sure that there's a blank empty line in between each paragraph. So look at the images below for an example. And what I'd like you to do now is check your work and make sure that you've used accurate paragraphs in your essay. If you haven't, just read through it quickly and make sure that you add them in now. So pause the video and do that now. Okay, next we're talking about proofreading our work. So proofreading your work is a very important step that sometimes gets missed out when we're in a hurry to submit something on time. When you look at your work with fresh eyes, you'll sometimes notice small mistakes that you didn't see at first. So this is completely normal and it happens to everybody when they're doing a long piece of writing. So not all spelling, punctuation and grammar mistakes will be automatically picked up by Word or whichever program you're using to write your essay. So it's really important that you proofread your work yourself. So what I'd like you to do now is take some time to carefully read through your whole essay from beginning to end and catch any small errors and correct them. Remember that if you want to, you can use the read aloud function in Word to help you. And if you look at the image below, where you'll find that is by clicking on Review on the tabs at the top, and then you'll see that it says Read Aloud. It's the third button in. Okay, next we're going to run our work through a spelling and grammar checker. So another thing that you should always do before submitting an essay is to run your work through a spelling and grammar checker. This will highlight any mistakes that you might have missed when you were proofreading your work on your own. So you should pause the video now and use the spelling and grammar checker in Word to make sure that your essay is accurate and that you haven't missed out any small errors. So again, where you'll find that is by going to Review along the top and then clicking on the button that says Spelling and Grammar. So pause the video and do that now. Brilliant. Okay, so that's the end of today's lesson. Remember to tag me on Teams if you're having any trouble at all with any of the functions that we've used in Word, or if anything else is confusing you and you have any questions at all. Well done.